So the new company coming to town needed to open up within a few months, and they had no workers really, except for maybe their HR folks coming from their headquarters. And so our business connection team, so Dan has a whole network of teammates that he relies on, had to go and find the talent. So not just the production workers, but you've got your managers, supervisors, some of the accountants. So it's just an array of folks that they needed to put in place. And how many months did you guys have? 3? About 3 months. And they did it on time. The company opened up as planned, got work going, people got jobs, all good. And so you'll see some outcomes then. I mean, as a result of that, they brought, this company alone, as of October, brought 136 jobs, and it's going to increase to 300 by this fall. And so our team, because of the great work that they've done in partnering with our EDB and others, that we're still helping them, and we need 100 more bodies soon. So that's great. And then coming to town, we had facilities that are now leased, and so that's an investment by this company. They made a $300,000 capital investment initially, and as they grow, they'll continue to make that investment. Alone, our business connection team screened 1,500 applications. That's a lot of time and a lot of resources a company saves just by utilizing our resources. And 301 good candidates were referred, of which you can see how many were hired to date. And then so overall, we just estimate a $300,000 savings for our business customer. That's money that they can hire on more workers or make more investments in our local area.
So I'm going to talk both about how we partner and use this project as a case study about the partnering opportunity. So as I told you, we were in the midst of this Office of Economic Adjustment grant. We had phase 1, which was a $500,000 portion for mapping transportation, and phase 2 was where we submitted for all of the other things to the grant. And really to map the growth and impact of the Joint Base Lewis-McChord, which when we started the grant were 2 separate bases, but we knew they were going to be joined, so we started treating them like that. At any rate, OEA wouldn't do the mapping of the labor force and kind of the needs of the soldiers who were getting out of the military and spouses who were transferred. And we had heard that there was a huge need around that, just parenthetically from people as we were pulling this information together. But OEA is a really unusual organization in that you get a project manager, and it is not a competitive grant. They actually, you have linked destiny with that project manager, and they have to make sure that you're successful or they're not successful. And so as a result, you really kind of are joined at the hip for the life of the grant with your project manager. And so they gave us a couple of other sources to go to for this department to get the labor stuff mapped. Well, we have a very small staff at Lakewood. We run a very lean city. We don't have, a lot of utility services and stuff that other cities have. And I don't have a lot of staff, and so this grant, project was big enough as it was. And so they were talking about, Department of Labor and some other possibilities in terms of where to do this mapping. And I was so relieved when I called Linda and said, I think we really need some help with this. And it turned out that Linda knew people, had the contacts inside the federal agencies and state agencies at very high levels with the people that we'd been referred to. And so I called Linda, and she made some phone calls, and they confirmed that yes, that was possible, and yes, they knew about OEA, and we pulled a team together, and we're very successful in getting the grant, and we're now doing advertising to get people into the grant process. And it was a $4.8 million grant. And so, that will serve people tied to Joint Base Lewis-McChord for some training or retraining to help them integrate into the population. The amazing thing about Joint Base Lewis-McChord is it's the 3rd largest employer in the state, and they're the largest single source employer. They're smaller than Boeing, and they're smaller than the state agencies, but both Boeing and the state agencies have multiple offices. And we didn't know that when we started this process. And so we learned a great deal through that mapping exercise. The interesting thing is that there were a whole variety of other communities that were also eligible to apply for those OEA funds. And I was very surprised that we were really the only one in this round that did. And it gave us tremendous and powerful information. And that information is available on our website. And so if you're in a community that's adjacent to a military base, and if OEA has funding again, I could only heartily recommend that you might want to look at what funding would be available to you, because we got $2.8 million to do that, and the exercise in itself was really huge. But the information and the data that we gained from that, and the partnerships that we created with others in the community, including Linda and the workforce people, it will be something that will carry us forward and we can use on other projects. Now that these things are working and we know what each other do better and so forth, it'll be something that will carry us forward for a long time. And so the next time something comes up, this is just a phone call away now, or maybe my next meeting.
Okay, we've gone through the roasters and the soldiers. We're now down to the scientists. Pierce County has a great company called General Plastics. They provide, they supply to the aircraft and aerospace industry. It's a really solid company in Pierce County. The example that we're going to talk about gives real credence to the value of partnerships. We all know and have had the experience of sometimes you talk to the people closest at home when you're furthest away. So I was in California at an aerospace advanced materials conference, and was walking the floor talking to businesses, and there was someone from General Plastics that I hadn't met before, and it was their sales force. And so it's like, hey, a Tacoma company, how you doing? You know, how are things going? And as we chatted, the salesperson said, you know, we're really having a hard time finding workers. And it's like, whoa, boy, do we have the answer for you. In my phone, I had the telephone number for Dan Grisham, the business connection team, called him immediately, standing there, and said, Dan, there's a Tacoma company that could really benefit from a visit from you. The salesperson gave the name of the correct person for Dan to contact. I believe it was Eric Hahn, general manager. Eric is here today. Dan called him that same day. He called him 5 minutes after hanging up from talking to me, and he was in their office the next day talking to them. That was a great connection. We played a very little role in making that connection, but what has happened after that is huge.
So this company has been around 3 decades. So it's a company that we want to keep around, and they're aerospace connected, so we knew growth was coming. And so want to make sure that we take good care of them and not just focus on recruiting companies and working with those new companies only. So over the years, our team has, placed 38 people just over the last 5 years. And those positions range from production worker to electrician mechanic, to quality assurance inspector, CNC operator, CNC manager. They're good jobs, and our business services team really rolls out the red carpet for every business that they touch and work with. And so to this day, really, General Plastics have their own HR department, but we're a supplement to them. So when they can't find the workers that they need, our team really jumps in and supplements that work, and has done a great job. So 38 hires over the last 5 years, and you think about interviewing. They used to interview 10 candidates to get to 1 hire, and because of the good screening, the intensive screening that our business connection team has been able to do, because they understand what it is this company does, and they also use this assessment tool called Job Fit. So they'll profile superstar workers in a certain job classification. Part of their screening is they will screen applicants to the superstar scores, and so it really has reduced the interview ratio 4 to 1 hire, and the retention rate we hear from Eric and others at General Plastics has gone up. And so again, that just saves the company time when there's less churn, and there's less time you have to spend in vetting a candidate to work for you. Oh yes, and because we've done such a great job, Eric is our Workforce Development Council chair. We're able to recruit him because he believes in the work we do, and believes in the value of the Workforce Investment Act funds that come to our local area that can do these amazing things to help our companies grow and get people jobs. So thank you, Eric. And then I just estimated this. Over 5 years, we have saved General Plastics about $400,000. So in addition to finding bodies for General Plastics, they also had a need to train up their current workforce. They needed to get leaner. They needed to have people who can do their best every day. And so we were able to access our partner at Tacoma Community College, develop a curriculum with General Plastics, and find funding to train their incumbent, we call them incumbent workers. And as a result, I know they're, well, Eric, we can ask him in a little bit, but they've reduced the waste in their production. So material waste has been reduced, profitability's gone up, and they're a wonderful company in that all their, well, not all, maybe 80% of their profits go out back to the employees. And so when they can do a better job, hold on to the profit more, everyone wins.
Okay, lessons learned. You know, it really, we think we've built a good foundation for success, and that we have a very different relationship. You know, it used to be that we knew who each other were, but we didn't work together and we didn't go to the same meetings. So we think we've built this great foundation because it's an easy phone call now, and you don't, it's not like you have to explain the whole thing again. And so that's a great foundation. And so it really allows us to focus on the business needs and provides a customized set of services, because we can draw from all of those resources to wrap our arms around the project or the company to achieve great success, which is wonderful. And not only that, but the company gets a reliable and predictable quality of service, and that's very important because it does save them money. And the three of us, or our agencies and our other partners in the county, have a common goal, and the common goal is to provide great solutions for the business community and you know, service the people and the companies in Pierce County. One of the things that, just as an example, you know, on the JBLM project, as an example of a shared common goal, Linda created a team for that grant project, and she called Thurston County and the Pacific Mountain group, and so she convened a team for the JBLM service territory, so it went beyond Pierce County. And so, and while we at Lakewood or the EB might have known our economic development partners in those, we might not have known the workforce people, and so it was, again, an easy phone call. And that, you know, that translates into greater outcomes for the people that are joined to the base, the communities and people that are joined to the base. So that's a deeper understanding of each other's needs, but also a sharing of resources, and so that's wonderful. It also allowed to leverage resources, because I knew that I didn't have to worry about this. Linda's, you know, we had the meetings, but in between, Linda would send us updates, and she would give it, say, the team's working on this, or she'd say, we need this information. Can you get us this piece of data, or we're looking for something that would quantify this in some way. And so again, you know, I knew that I had a pulse on the work, but I didn't have to worry about it every day, because I knew that we had a great team and that we were getting tremendous value. And you know, the thing is that that grant, the labor grant, was competitive, and so in the way that we work together, we have a great success for Pierce County and for the Thurston County region as well, and for the people who are going to be individuals who are going to be served by this project. So it was it's to us a good example of a way to help people and help the businesses in our region.